a.k.a. Mr. Kreate Leverage, here with the Kreate Leverage podcast.
All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice, that's why. All my life, I've been grinding all my life. Look, all my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice, that's why. All my life, I've been grinding all my life.
This is the Kreate Leverage podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Lee, a.k.a. Mr. Kreate Leverage. You guys already know what it is. This is the podcast where financial literacy meets social issues meet entertainment, and our ultimate goal is to uplift and inspire fallen humanity. You guys already know how I do it. I always want to start with, how's your mental health? We know that mental health is a great, extremely big issue in our society today. Current, past, of course, and present. So I want you guys to, expound on your mental health. Get in the comment section. Let me know how your mental health is doing today. Like I always say, I ask a gentleman or a woman, how's their mental health? And they look at me, it's puzzling to people that someone will actually ask a question that is so deep. So you guys already know, I start the podcast with, how's your mental health? My mental health today is good. I feel strong. I feel, motivated. I feel a lot on my feet. Family's doing good. But in the event, that doesn't mean 30 minutes from now, I can get a phone call, a text, someone can upset me outside of the office, and now my mental health is not so stable. So I want you guys to, start incorporating this into your life. Ask your fellow brethren, how is your mental health? Your kids, your neighbor, the postal guy to come and deliver the mail, your co-worker, your boss, ask people how are their mental health. You guys already know the premises of of this podcast. When financial literacy meets social issues, when social issues meets entertainment, and our ultimate goal is to inspire and up fallen humanity. Hold on. I just love doing that. So we have a special guest here. You guys already know I'm going to always bring in a guest that have a specific expertise in a specific industry to give you guys some valuable information. Sometimes the information is going to be, you're going to be able to use it in the present. Sometimes the information is just going to be, you just need to know, because you might not need the information now, you might need it in the future. You might not need the service now, you might need it in the future. And sometimes I would bring guests on the show that are advocating for something, that's standing for a specific cause, because you guys know that the podcast, part of the premises of the podcast is social issues. Social issues is a broad horizon, so I'm not just speaking on one specific issue, or I will be speaking on that specific issue when we come on the podcast. But social issues are, there are so many different social issues that are going on in today's society. I could speak on one right now, the war in Ukraine. That's a big social issue that is going on. You think that the war in Ukraine does not directly affect us? Well, it actually do. Look at the gas prices. When the gas prices, when Putin decided to invade, the gas prices were, I don't know, 3 something. I'm not sure. Just a ballpark figure. Now, I saw last week it was $4.75, and that's in Vegas. So I know back home in California, shout out to Oxnard, California. I know back home in California, the gas prices are probably like 6, because when I was out here and it was like 4 or 5 something. This is when the war was going on. It was like 6 in California, and California is closer to the coast. So why are we cheaper than California? I don't know. That's another social issue that I don't have the answer for. You know what I mean? But we have a special guest on the show, that have a specific niche and a specific cause and a specific calling that he's executing. We almost didn't get on the show because we were just so busy talking about his cause, and I had to stop. Like, hold on. Let's wait. Let's keep the rest of this for the show. But before I start the show, I want to ask him, how's your mental health?
Oh, it's fantastic. Thank you, Kevin, and I appreciate you being here with me today. But yeah, mental health is huge, and I think this message goes out to everyone. Everyone has problems and challenges that they go through life, And sometimes, and again, one of my
You want your headphone like that?
yeah, it's good.
All right, cool.
So I think with the challenges and problems that we face every day, it's important with one of my readings, especially today. And this doesn't matter what your religion is, but you need to have some sort of faith. And it's like, you know what, you need to ask God or whoever your believer is. Say, look, help me get through the challenge. Help me get through the problem, because we're all going to have problems.
Yes, sir.
And sometimes God puts those problems in your life to make you better. To push you a little further. And again, you have to, maybe that's just me having a little athletic background to say, why are things happening in my life? But again, give me the strength and the courage to overcome that. And how am I going to come out stronger when I get through it? So everyone out there, I mean, stay strong. The mental health is huge, but remember, it's not just you, it's everybody. And again, you know, I think my analogy on this is like when you look at when they first came out with a golf ball, they made a golf ball smooth, believe it or not. So there's no little lumps or divots in that golf ball. And then as they started to realize, the more they hit the golf ball, it went further and further. So if you take a look at your life and say, look, how many lumps do I have on me?
Man.
How many lumps am I taking?
So
but again, all those lumps lead into, now you see the golf ball,
Yeah.
it's got all those little divots in it.
Yeah.
Because again, you need those divots to help you go further.
Huh.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So you correlate a smooth golf ball at the beginning of its life to now it has rivets
Dimples
in it,
yeah.
and it's still existing, strong as ever, and it's one of the major components of an athlete today in the golfing world. Wow.
Yeah. We all need to take some lumps in our life. But again, those lumps are not because you're a bad person. It's just sometimes those lumps happen to you because you need to be pushed a little further.
You need to be pushed a little further.
Yeah.
It's
all about adversity. You know?
And you know, it's crazy because I believe in that, because I think that when you look at my life and how my life went and all the trials and tribulations that I had to go through, not to name any of them, but I had to go through that to be where I'm at today, to be able to have you on the podcast, delivering this information and bringing awareness to a social issue that a lot of people don't even think about.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there is a niche for every situation, and it takes a special person to first identify that niche and see that there is a issue or a problem that needs to be solved.
Sure.
Because that's how that's how products and inventions get brought into life, because they find that there's a problem that needs to be solved, and now the human mind automatically goes into action once the human mind identifies that it's a problem and the human mind wants to solve the problem.
Sure.
And then you have all of these great inventions that we have today. So Brian, I didn't even get a chance to tell the Did you catch that? Did you catch that? I didn't even get a chance to tell people your name.
Sure.
Brian, and how do you pronounce your last name?
It's Paonessa.
Brian Paonessa.
Yeah.
I asked him 3 times. I'm bad with names. Brian Paonessa. So tell us where you're from.
So I'm originally from Niagara Falls, New York, and I've been in Las Vegas for the last 7 years.
Okay.
I just kind of got to the point where I was just fed up shoveling snow and dealing with those environmental issues that they have back east. So my sister's been out here in Vegas for almost 25 years, and I'd always visit. I just was never mature enough to come out to Vegas and get to the lifestyle. But now here I am in Vegas. I'm very happy and blessed to be here. It's sunshine, blue skies every day. And I tell you what, I love the heat. So,
Yeah, I love Vegas too. Shout out to home. I love the beach. I grew up on the beach, Oxnard, California.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I love Vegas, the economic opportunity. Of course, no state taxes.
Sure.
All the networking. I met this gentleman. I meet a lot of people at the Chamber of Commerce. No, that was the Vegas Young Professional.
Correct.
The Vegas Young Professional. That is a networking group that people, like-minded people that want to have something in life, come together and create leverage, because that's what it's all about. That's what this podcast is all about. Creating leverage. So when we meet and we have a dialogue, and if we can assist each other in each other's journey, that's what Create Leverage is all about. So you come to Vegas.
Yep.
And then what?
Having that athletic background since I was 5, it just really put inside me that mentality where like I'm a go-getter and I need to prove myself in any area of my life. So whether that be work, relationships, family, I need to be always that athletic mindset. And so I became a registered nurse before I came out to Vegas, and I just kind of hit the ground running as far as working the overtime, putting the hours in, taking care of the patients, and doing favors for my coworkers and managers and things like that. And I love the nursing industry. I fell in love with it just because I guess, I have 2 older sisters, a phenomenal mom and dad, and I think looking back, when you look at your life, you have to connect the dots. Looking backwards, you can't go forward. It just doesn't work that way.
So you look back to see what makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think having my parents be there for me and having that connection, especially with your mom, is huge. And I think that creates that compassionate, that empathy in your life to care for another individual.
I would have to agree.
So I'm very fortunate with that. And it was a funny story, real quick. My grandma, who lived to 96, she always wanted to be a nurse. And she was a medical aide, but then she had children and things like that. So life gets complicated, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So when she found out I was becoming a nurse, she was ecstatic. And I think I really made her dream come true when she found out her grandson was being a nurse. But she, to this day, even when I go into a patient scenario, and I made this promise to my grandma. My grandma was like, Brian, I've been in the nursing home for over 20 years. I've been in a lot of hospitals throughout my life. She's like, just make me this promise. She's like, when you take care of your patients, take your time.
Compassion.
Take your time. And you know what? I think about that even when every day. Just take my time. And there's going to be outside things that kind of come into your world, outside factors that there's nothing you can do about it. But again, when you go back and say, look, what's your roots and what's your promise you make, that's something that's huge. And that's led me to being acknowledged at the hospital through patients and coworkers and managers is that patient care. And my goal here in Las Vegas is to give back, to speak to nursing students, to tell them, like, look, it's not about what you score on a test.
Because we talked about this. You're not good on tests. I'm not good on tests.
Right. It's about how you perform in the heat of the moment.
Yes, sir.
So we need good nurses out there that understand it's not about how smart you are taking a test and how book smart you are.
So your business.
Can you have a one-on-one conversation? And then the most important part is, can you make a person feel comfortable in an uncomfortable situation? Because no one likes to go into a hospital setting.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Whether it's surgery, whether it's a doctor's appointment, whether you're seeing family, no one likes to go.
Gotcha.
But
how can you make someone feel comfortable in an uncomfortable situation?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Word,
Yeah.
because when you go into the doctor, sometimes you be in an uncomfortable situation, especially when they put you in a robe.
Sure.
They put you in a robe, you don't got nothing on up under there, you got your socks on. They come through there, checking your vitals and whatever else you need to do. That's definitely an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, I mean, you're sitting there with the door shut and it's just dead silent, and you're just hearing the footsteps
it's
outside
always
the
cold
door.
in there.
Absolutely.
It's damn near like being in jail. Like being in
let's not take it to that extreme, but
well, yeah, but it's cold in there.
Sure, it is cold.
Yeah, I like room temperature.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, your business. What's the name of your business?
So my business is called Fit Functional Nurses, and the whole idea is this: I've been a nurse for 7 years, and I've seen the incentives and benefits just kind of go by the wayside when you look at the nursing industry. And the whole concept is based on a military discount. You look at all of the first responders that we have in the nation, whether that be policemen, teachers, EMT, firemen, military. Again, phenomenal people that need are the foundation of our nation. And we all need them, and we all deserve better benefits and incentives for being
And we
a first
found
responder.
out how much we really need them once COVID came.
Absolutely.
go
And
ahead.
then during that time, the spotlight was put on the nursing industry during the pandemic. So that's what really motivated me to say, look, how can I make a difference, and how can I take my talents above and beyond the hospital setting? What can I do? Because we're all put on this earth to do something great.
So it's
And
kind of
then-
like so your business is a business, but it's also doing kind of like philanthropy work.
Well, I think it's more of just being an entrepreneur. It's it's taking your talents, which you grew up with and what's been instilled in you since day one, and saying, look, I don't want to punch a clock anymore. I want to make a difference here in the city of Las Vegas, in the state of Nevada, nationwide as well, worldwide. And remember this, and the reason for that is I could go to England tomorrow and punch in and work as a nurse. Nurses do the same thing all over the world.
Right. The human body is the human body.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
It's patient care. So it's the same schooling. It's the same work. So why can't nurses unify underneath a certain specific brand or have that bond and unity, or even better yet, have a voice outside of the workplace?
Facts.
Because that's where something is, action is going to change. Something's going to happen when you unify outside of work. And that's our history. We can have another conversation about this, but
yes,
it's stepping outside of your workplace.
Yes, sir.
It has nothing to do with corporations. It has nothing to do with unions. It's us as nurses standing up for what our profession is.
Got you.
Because again, if we have the numbers, we have over 4.2 million nurses in the nation. There's over 26,000 nurses here in Nevada. And that doesn't include students, CNAs, LPNs, nurse practitioners. That's just nurses. And you look at the other states like Utah, Arizona, California, Texas, New York. I mean, we're talking, Texas has over 260,000 nurses. California's got 350,000 nurses.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's insane, the numbers. But again, my program in the foundation, core component of it is like, look, you have military discounts, you have teacher federal credit unions, you have teacher home buying incentives. Well, where are the incentives for the nursing industry?
So your business is to get to advocate and to push for nurses to have discounts, benefits, so that they can have a better quality of life.
Correct.
Okay.
Corporations, and again, I'm not going to mention any names, but they do offer some discounts and incentives, which is awesome. But these are the things that are like 1-800-Flowers and Disneyland. These are large corporations that, like, look, as a nurse, and I look at myself, for instance, I'm maybe going to go to Disneyland maybe once a year, if I'm lucky. So again, you providing that benefit to me is great and fine and dandy, but what about the things I'd use every day? A cup of coffee, a gym membership, getting a massage, getting my hair cut, going out to eat. Again, look at Las Vegas. We are the entertainment capital of the world. There's so many restaurants, phenomenal restaurants.
It's a whole lot of restaurants out here.
Right. Well, why can't I be rewarded as a nurse in my city for what I do?
And when you think about it, the nurses, because that's like you said, you have military discounts. I think they are warriors equally, if not more. Of course, the military discount because they, protect the nation.
Sure.
Now, the nurses, they actually protect the nation too because they protect the wellness and the well-being of the citizens.
Right.
And even if you're not a citizen, then they still protect you because once you come up over here, you still have, I think it's unalienable rights and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Right. So, yeah, I like it. I like the concept. I would actually have never thought of, and that's one thing about this podcast is we want to enlighten people on different things that they wouldn't normally think about. Of course, entrepreneurship and how to fix your credit and how to get a business loan and, things that the guests come on this podcast talk about, real estate, so on and so forth. That's information that you might need right then and there, or you might need it later on. But it's like a thing that even if I don't want to know, I want to know. So the premise of the podcast is social issues. We have social issues incorporated with financial literacy and entertainment and inspire and uplift and follow humanity. Right. So this is a social issue that the viewers need to be aware of and advocate for and support you because this is an issue. Almost everyone, I know that in the African American community, a lot of our mothers, grandmothers, aunties, cousins, they are in the nursing field. Right. So, in the Hispanic community too. Right. And matter of fact, it's and even the white community, it is. It's everybody has someone in their family that is in the medical field.
Yep.
So it's very important now that we are aware that there is an entrepreneur that found a problem
Right.
that is executing the problem, and the problem is that we need to get wellness and outside of work.
Right.
Right. Outside.
It's the lifestyle. It's how does someone come back to work stronger after working 3, 4, 12s or whatever the case may be, and then they have outside factors coming in, family, your pipe breaks in your underneath your sink or something like that. Those are issues that everyone's going to go through.
Right.
But again, how do I improve that lifestyle? Well, guess what? I can get a plumber and get a discount rate
Right.
to that nurse.
Just like
Right.
just like the military has, just like the veteran have
Sure.
discounts for because everywhere I go, like they always say, do you have a military are you a
Sure,
veteran?
sure.
So it's the same thing
Sure.
with
Sure.
that.
Sure. I mean, you know how many times, Kevin, I get asked, "Are you in the Marines?"
I am in the Marine.
I'm an athletic guy.
Right.
In summertime, I shave my head.
Right.
I guess I have the demeanor
The
to
demeanor.
it. You know,
Right.
I'm not in the military.
Not in the military.
I mean, and I'm a proud nurse because again, as you can see, my
sir.
motorcycle vest. You know,
Yes,
I'm proud to be a nurse.
Proud to be
you
a
know what I
nurse.
mean? So, but I mean, I think
It's a patch.
Yeah,
It's like when you're a motorcycle. When you're in a
Yeah.
motorcycle, you get your patches.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
As you speak and I learn more about you and more about what it is that you're pushing,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, and that's another reason why I thought that it would be a good idea for you to come on the podcast, because this podcast is called the Create Leverage Podcast, and Create Leverage means doing what you have to do legally and ethically to put you and your people in a better position in the system.
Sure.
So you're doing exactly what this podcast represents, doing what you have to do legally and ethically to put you and your people in a better position in the system. Your people specifically is the nursing industry. And I love that. So go ahead.
So, like, again, going back to your point, when a patient walks through the hospital doors, us as nurses, there's no discrimination between race, gender, diseases, illnesses, viruses. That's
None.
and so when people ask me about the pandemic, working through it, I'm like, it's an everyday thing. That's the vow you took when you became a nurse.
Gotcha.
You don't discriminate. You don't judge people based on their symptoms and what they come through the door with. Everyone gets treated the same, and that's what a big challenge was when you had a lot of nurses that have worked 10, 15, 20 years in the nursing career, and then all of a sudden we have a pandemic, and then public health steps into the hospital setting and tells the nurse how to treat their patients. Again, I look at it from my behalf and say, look, I treat everyone the same.
Right.
It's care, compassion, empathy.
Right.
But then you have public health come in and say, look, you come in, Kevin, through the door, I come through you come in with symptoms, I don't come in symptoms. Well, guess what? Even though I have something internally going on with me that needs attention, needs to be addressed like that,
Right.
my attention and focus and
It's
energy
on-
is going towards you because
I
you're
got the
symptomatic.
symptoms, Matt.
Right.
Got you.
I'm coming into the hospital doors and I'm hovering over because my stomach's in so much pain. But you come in with a head cold and things like that and have symptoms that are looking like COVID. Well, guess what? My attention's to you. I need to get you in a specific area of the hospital where you're not at risk for yourself and others. And that's, again, you tell a nurse after all those years of doing their profession how great they are at their job, how to do their job. That puts a bad taste in their mouth, and guess what? They're like, you know what? I'm done.
I'm done.
That's it. And again, it's unfair that managers and large corporations have to come down on their employees so hard, but that's the nature of the beast. It's just that's what they have to do because that's what the government's telling them to do that. This is the way you operate now. It's not the way you normally would. Things are changing now. It's a pandemic now. Things are changing. So again,
Pandemic.
yeah.
That pandemic experience was, I almost could say, one of the craziest things that I have witnessed in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Would you be able?
Sure. Well, remember this too. going back to our first conversation about the golf ball, how does a hospital system corporation get better? Well, when things like this come up and we have to change, we have to change our ways, we have to mold, we have to grow, we have to learn from what has happened to say, look, yeah, this is not working for us. We need to do this going forward, which is inevitably going to make our hospital system better.
Got you.
You know, so again, looking at the pandemic, yes, it was strange. There's a lot of weird things happening through the world, but as a nurse, my perspective of stay calm. When patients would ask me what my thoughts were, I was a non-biased person because I'm like, we're going to get over this.
I'm going to get over this.
You have to be optimistic. It's going to take time. We have to get through the whole mask thing and the whole vaccination thing. We have to get through this.
We have to get through this.
So again, when we have the next pandemic, because it's going to happen.
You think so?
Oh, I know so. Do you know how many diseases and viruses there are in this world? There's stuff that we never even heard of before. And it's an unfortunate thing, but again, with our population worldwide, things happen.
Things happen.
And it's just out of our control, no matter what we do. And again, you have to understand that the pandemic, this pandemic was very media driven.
Right.
And I'm very proud, and again, I feel qualified to talk about this, is very media driven, because again, when the media puts fear in the public's eye,
which is the fourth branch of the government.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, there's three branches. The media is the fourth branch.
It changes things for people.
So
the people are scared to go out of their house. They're going to and again, they're scared to come to the hospital, even though they need help. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's scary. I mean, that's really
Most
an unfortunate thing.
Why would I go into a gun? Why would I go where they're shooting at?
Sure.
And I'm trying to live.
Right.
So what about the political? So the political part of your business, because you are like an advocate for this wellness for the medical industry outside of work.
Right.
So is there like a barrier to entry for you to be able to push your agenda, like the politicians? Like, how are you going about getting those equal protections, or some type of rights for or benefits for the medical industry? Because like I say, you have the military have the discount. And you're advocating and pushing for the medical industry to have their discounts.
Yep.
So when you have that, you're dealing with a whole bureaucracy. And how's that going?
Well, again, I look at it like this. You have to take a step back and say it's all about a lifestyle of a nurse. I'm not trying to change anything within a hospital.
Excuse me. Hold on for 1 second, sir. We're going to come right back. Give us a couple seconds. This is the Create Leverage podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Lee, a.k.a. Mr. Create Leverage, with my guest, Bryant, and we'll be back in a second. This is the Create Leverage podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Lee, a.k.a. Mr. Create Leverage, always creating leverage as usual. This is the podcast where financial literacy meets social issues meets entertainment, and our ultimate goal is to inspire and uplift fallen humanity. I want to give a special shout out to our sponsors, Moxie Ultra Lounge. So if you are in Las Vegas, Nevada, please go by and support Moxie Ultra Lounge. They have good food, they have good dining, they have great entertainment, they have fair prices. Also go out and support our sponsors. Our sponsor, Create Leverage Clothing. Always remember Create with a K. You go to their Instagram, check them out, go to their website, buy you a shirt, hat. The bills need to get paid. These are our sponsors. They are the ones that are footing the bill for us to deliver this information to you guys. They are the ones that are paying for this office for us to rent. So if you appreciate this information, if you feel as though that we bring value to the market and bring value to your life, because information is a commodity. That's why people sell information. That's why people sell courses. That's why you go to college, because information is a commodity. And on this podcast, we are giving you guys information. So all I ask in return is for you to support our sponsors. Moxie Ultra Lounge, Las Vegas, Nevada. Create, which is a brick and mortar. Create Leverage Clothing. They are online. Create with a K. And yeah, I greatly appreciate you guys. So, Brian, where were we?
So, some of the challenges and hurdles that I've been facing to create exposure for my company out here in Las Vegas is when I've had conversations with city councilmen and state senators here, I have to break down the dynamics of what our entertainment system looks like and show the similarities between our healthcare system. Now, when you look at our entertainment, we're worldwide number one here in Las Vegas, which is, we have the best restaurants, best hotels, best spas. That's hands down.
Everyone comes to here for vacation and entertainment. Yes,
Absolutely. The entertainment system is 24/7, 365. And so is our healthcare system, 24/7, 365.
I never looked at it like
Right.
that.
So the pandemic has put a spotlight on our healthcare industry the last couple of years.
Yes, sir.
To say, look, okay. And it's also shown our city's true colors as far as our entertainment, because guess what? When the government comes in and shuts us down, which again, we were all shocked by.
Entertainment.
I remember running down the strip when it's just closed and it's all boarded up and there's cop cars. I mean, it was the spookiest thing I've ever seen.
Spookiest thing.
Spooky. Just, again, nobody there. Las Vegas Strip, downtown, all boarded up. And again, it was something that'll probably, the last time that happened was when JFK got assassinated.
Gotcha.
Believe it or not. That's the last time the strip was shut down.
Gotcha.
So again, looking at that, you look at the healthcare system and you say the similarities. It's a 24/7, 365 industry. So why don't we shift our focus from our entertainment to our healthcare to improve? Because right now, the last time I've checked, we rank 48 out of 50 states when it comes to our healthcare system.
48 out of 50 states. Wow.
Now, I'm not trying to point the finger, blame anybody, but again, you have an influx of people that keep moving to Nevada
Yes, sir.
and Las Vegas because of all the benefits and features that we have here with this city, which is phenomenal. And I'm a Vegas strong guy. I love Las Vegas. I do.
And I'm one of them.
You know?
Yes, sir.
But you have the typical challenge where you have quantity versus quality.
Okay.
And then when you have all these people moving here, you don't have enough doctors. You don't have enough nurse practitioners. And a big shout out to goes all the nurse practitioners are, because I've had a lot of friends and family that I know that are trying to become nurse practitioners, and I know the struggles for them to receive their clinical hours for them to become nurse practitioners.
Okay.
And our education system needs to be, and again, I guess I am pointing the finger and saying, look, you guys, they need to help these nurse practitioners, because guess what? Who helps the doctors?
The nurse.
Nurse practitioners, because they're right underneath the doctor. And if you don't have enough nurse practitioners helping these doctors, the doctors are overwhelmed. The patient care goes down because they don't have enough time to spend with the patient.
That's a fact.
We need to speed up the process to get more nurse practitioners and having more doctors and more nurse practitioners help other nurse practitioners so they can get in the field faster.
Gotcha.
I mean, that's a true issue, that a challenge that we're having here in Las Vegas is saying, look, it's great that they want to take our money and for nurses to further their education and become a nurse practitioner. And my hats are off to all the nurse practitioners here in Las Vegas. But you can ask any of them. Probably one of the hardest things they've done in their life. Because, again, it's very stressful when you can't find a mentor or someone that's going to help you be by your side, teaching you how to become a nurse practitioner. Because, again, you don't have enough mentors or doctors to teach these nurse practitioners.
Got you. So, the bureaucratic red tape that a gentleman like yourself goes through when you're advocating and you're pushing and your business is to get nurses, the medical field, wellness outside of work, such as discount, just like the military has the discounts. Your business and your advocacy is to get the medical field, maybe not equal, but some love.
Yep.
So how is that with the bureaucrat, politicians and the red tape that you have to go through?
It's the hardest thing for me right now is this has never been done before. There's no roadmap for me. There's no right or wrong way for me to go and take this business and this company to say, look, how can I make a difference? How can I stand out? How can I get people to help me, support me? It's never been done. So
this is huge.
It is very huge.
This is huge. This is history. This is like history. Like if a gentleman, one of my main goals in life is to get in the history books. So when my grandchildren are in school, they stumble up and read about Kevin Lee, aka Mr. Kreate. And what you're doing right now is possibly getting in the history books.
Yep. I mean, I was always a big fan of Leonardo da Vinci. You can call me a Renaissance man. You can call me a pioneer. You can call me an ambassador. You can call me anything you want. At the end of the day, my goal is to improve the healthcare system in Nevada. Gotcha. In the next 2 to 3 years, I want to take Nevada's healthcare system, again, focusing on nursing students, CNAs, LPNs, registered nurses, nurse practitioners, and taking that 48 out of 50 rank and getting that below 30.
Got you.
I need more people and more support.
And how long? You said
3 years.
3 years.
And again, yes, maybe I am setting the bar very, very high. But you know what? That's what motivates me and keeps me going every day. Because, again, when I don't have a roadmap and I don't know what I'm doing some mornings and things like that, you know what? I have to look deep down inside me and say, look, what's my main goal and focus?
Yeah. I know all about shooting and not having a target.
Yeah.
And I know about shooting and having a target. You know, I know what I want to do. How am I going to do it? I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I know I'm going to take the first step to do this and do this, do this, do this, and do this. And then I know, because there's a difference between believing and knowing.
Yep.
Believing is I have faith. I can't see it, but I just believe in it. That's why they say you believe in, you know, whoever your higher power is.
Sure.
You have to believe. You have to understand that there's a difference between believing and knowing. Knowing. I know that I'm going to establish what it is that I'm pushing for, whatever it is I'm aiming for. It's just like you knowing that you're going to be able to have it up under, you said 30%?
48 out of, so bring that number to below 30.
Below 30.
Yeah.
That's a good margin. That's a good margin.
And this message goes out for every entrepreneur out there. There is no right way or wrong way to handle your business. And no one's going to tell you there's a magic book or a magic YouTube video that's going to inspire you, or you have to pay thousands of dollars. No, it's you looking yourself in the mirror saying, look, do I believe in myself? Because that's the first thing you need. If you don't have that, then maybe entrepreneurship is not for you.
Maybe entrepreneurship is not for you.
Right.
That's a fact. So
again, it goes out to those people that are pounding the pavement every day, that are looking for an answer. There's no right answer. It's you believing in you and making it happen. And it's an everyday thing. It doesn't shut off. And that's the hardest part too. Looking at myself and what I've done in the last 2 years, I think it's scary sometimes when I have downtime and have quiet time. Because then what happens is your mind starts to turn. And then you get in your mind and you're like, oh boy. But again, what we talked about is having faith, having that cornerstone, if you will, or believing in your higher power to say, look, you're trusting the process. And I think the best analogy I can tell people that are doing entrepreneurship now, when you take that first leap, it's just like jumping out of a plane. That parachute's not going to open right away. You're all going to fall, and I'm falling, Kevin, you're falling, and eventually that parachute will open. But when you jump out of a plane, you're going down. You don't just start sailing away. And I guess that's my motivational speech for entrepreneurs out there.
No, it makes sense, because I mean, that's what I did once, because I was in prison. So when I got out of prison, I just jumped. I had a leap of faith.
Yep.
And I'm still on the journey, but I know it's different between believing. I know that my destination, which is my target, I know that I'm gonna hit it. You know what I mean? So that's the good thing about this podcast, is because, of course, I want to bring people on here that have a specific expertise in a specific industry to educate the people. Of course, it's a financial literacy podcast. I'm here to share the information. You know what I mean? However, I want the viewers, the typical American, or the typical human, you know, because this is to uplift and aspire fallen humanity. So human as a human race. I want them to hear the stories. You know what I mean? Not just the finished product. Oh, I have this business and, you know, we're making this amount of much money, and, you know, no. I want to hear how you got to where you are. I want to hear the trials and tribulations, the sleepless nights when I thought about committing suicide. because I just didn't believe it was going to work. I was at a ribbon cutting last week, and the gentleman, Silver Spoon Clothing. Shout out to Silver Spoon Clothing. Let me make sure that that's their name. Silver Spoon Clothing. You guys go out and follow those people on Instagram. If you need a custom-made tuxedo or a tie, a shirt, anything that they offer, please go out and check them out, because the owner and the staff are some nice people. I went to a ribbon cutting. I hear their story, and matter of fact, I'm going to bring them on the podcast now I think about it.
That's good.
Because we want to hear those stories of people that have a mission, and he almost fell and he decided to get back up. And it's the same thing with your concept, and with trying to create this lane, create a lane, building something out of nothing.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's not. I mean, failure has been in my life since day one. I'm lucky and I'm blessed to be even sitting with you having this conversation, because there was a point in my life where I didn't know I was going to be becoming a nurse. I didn't know this was going to happen. Becoming a nurse almost ended for me very quickly. I don't know if we have enough time to share that story, but
Go ahead, spit it out.
So, long story short, I was never a book smart guy. I never did well on tests. I was more of an athletic guy. I could perform in the heat of the moment, not taking tests. So nursing school was a struggle. I was a personal trainer for 10 years. I went back to to nursing school to further my education in the health industry. I had a bachelor's in health and wellness, and I went back for more. I failed a semester in nursing school early on, and then I failed another semester, and I got kicked out of nursing school. By the grace of God, I went in front of the dean and I pleaded my case, and I got back into nursing school, and it was phenomenal. I did well, finally graduated. I got a job right out of nursing school working at the hospital, and then a month later I failed my boards and lost my job. So I went from failing twice in nursing school to say, look, almost going back to be a personal trainer again, to say, it's not for me.
Gotcha.
And then finally getting in my career, which I worked so hard to get into, and then failed my boards and I lost my job.
Congratulations. Hold on one second. Congratulations. And the crowd goes wild.
Thank you.
The crowd appreciates the story.
Right. But, that just, the mindset that I had back then was I just can't quit. I can't quit no matter what happens.
And let that be inspiration to anyone out there that have a dream, that started on a mission, that you just can't quit. Look at me. A lot of you guys know my story. You know what I mean? A lot of you guys watch me on Instagram. You know what I mean? A lot of you guys, see what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I'm a prime example. This gentleman is a prime example, and many other people are prime example. And you're probably a prime example. That's why it's very important that when you watch this podcast, you like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. We need more people to hear these type of testimonies, because you might touch someone live that need it at the right time, because mental health is a real issue. So where can, like I say, everyone has a someone that's in the medical field in their family. So how can they support you?
So if you go on the Instagram, ffnworld.com, it's the same thing, or I'm sorry, ffnworld.com is my website.
We're going to put it in the link. We're going to put it in the link up under
ffnworld.com is the website, and then ffnworld is the Instagram and Facebook, and then there's the TikTok, and then there's a YouTube channel, and then the Pinterest. Yeah, it's all FFN World.
How can they support you?
But yeah, I mean, the followers is fantastic. The comments, the support. I do have multiple events planned for this upcoming year. If there's nurses out there, there's CEOs, CNOs that want to get involved in the community that are working at these large corporations. I would love to sit down and have a conversation with those people, because I need their support and their help to filter through and talk to the nurses, and especially the nursing schools. I need to speak in front of your nursing students to give them some support, because the nursing students are the foundation of what any nurse turns out to be.
Exactly.
And if they don't start on a good foot or a good note, guess what? Their career is not going to be what they want it to be. You know, we need to be supporting kids. We need to get into schools at an early age. Because, again, if we're having nursing shortages, we have to show the benefits of why they should get into the healthcare industry.
That's a big fact.
And, again, as not a big school person, if I can get an associate's degree, become a nurse in 2 years and making pretty decent salary, hey, and I have all these benefits with FFN, and I have it's shown, it's a roadmap for me. Just again, same thing like the military, they give you like a roadmap of what your life's going to turn out to be. We need to start pitching these kids at a young age, because there's so many kids out there, Kevin, and you know this, that don't have any direction and purpose.
That's why I'm gonna start a nonprofit. See, like my whole existence is to give back to humanity. You know what I mean? I want to aspire and uplift fallen humanity, but humanity, period. And I'm going to start a nonprofit to target. So it's going to have 3 programs. One is the youth. That's going to be my main focus. However, I'm going to have a program for drug addiction and people that are coming home from out of prison, to give them the resources that they need so they can get acclimated back into society, and probably maybe get in the medical field.
I worked at the juvenile detention center for almost 2.5 years as a nurse while I was working med-surg at the hospital full time, and to get in front of these kids.
This is a different insight.
Absolutely. When you speak to kids and say, look, they made a mistake. The variations of mistakes,
right?
They
go from simple to serious.
Right. I guess remember, I am not a parole officer. I'm an innocent bystander that has an outside perspective as a nurse. My goal is their health. Period. It has nothing to do with what they did or anything like that. It's just focusing on their health.
That's it.
And again, what we talked about when we first started this podcast, mental health. They're not right up here.
Yeah, and see, like
they don't have the coaches, they don't have the mentors at a young age. Like, again, if a kid gets into sports, like you and I were, those coaches are like a second father to us.
That's a fact,
because they teach us the fundamentals of how to be an adult, and it's not just the sports how they influence us. It's about the life. And what they believe in filters down to us to say, you know what, I love my coach and I want to work my tail off for this guy because he's going to influence my life and I want to be like him because he seems like he's a stable person that I can put my trust in.
That's a fact. So 2 things. One thing that you said about the coaches, my coaches, they were like my mentors. And believe it or not, like once I got in trouble, once I went to prison, and I kind of blamed them for a few years until I realized that they were my father. You know what I mean? They were just mentors that I just so happened to fall in love with.
Right.
Another thing, young men, they don't have leaders. So if you've been that's why this podcast is a financial literacy podcast. But the premise is when financial literacy meets social issues, which is at-risk youth and all that. Social issues mean entertainment, and our ultimate goal is to uplift and inspire fallen humanity. Fallen humanity is those kids. And that's why when I started my nonprofit, the detention center, those are going to be my allies, because I want to get in there and get with those kids.
Yep.
So
it's I always call it. I learned the 3 Ds at a young age, and that's discipline, dedication, and determination. Those are the 3 Ds that are the principles of how you're going to succeed as a young kid.
So tell them where they can find you at again.
So it's ffnworld.com is the website.
Slow, man.
I'm sorry. It rolls off my tongue. It rolls off my tongue. It's ffnworld.com. That's the website. And then FFN World, Instagram, and the Facebook, and
Pinterest, TikTok,
all
and all that. Yeah. So we have a segment on the podcast where we ask our guests, just in his opinion or her opinion, what is it that people need to know to get them where they need to go, just in your opinion?
Elaborate a little bit more on that, if you will.
So I might say people need financial literacy. Or I might say people need to first know themselves and know what inspires them and find something that they want to do and work towards that, getting them where they need to go. Okay, I want to be a nurse. Okay, cool. I need to go down here. I need to sign up, or I need to first find out how much they make.
Right.
You know what I mean? What is it that they need to know? Anything. What is it? Your advice? Like I said, I might say that everyone needs financial literacy.
I think, again, this perspective comes from a nurse. That's who I am,
and that's what we want.
The nurses, nursing students, anyone that gets into the nursing industry, you have to focus before it's patient-nurse ratio, before it's benefits and incentives in the hospital, before it comes vacation time and things like that. All the things that need to be addressed, but the number one priority with any nurse is you. It's you. There are so many outside things that happen to us as nurses that we cannot take into the hospital setting that affects our patient care, that affects the relationship I have with my coworkers. It has nothing to do with that. You have to be balanced. And I think when you look at my FFN sign, those 3 arcs, they represent the physical, the mental, the spiritual parts of health. And it's all about having balance in your life, not overcompensating one area of health into the other like I have for 7 years. It's being balanced. And the goal with FFN is to help you live a balanced and enjoy your lifestyle, save money, live better by doing the things that you enjoy doing outside of work. That's what's going to help you come back to work stronger. It's going to improve the patient care. It's going to improve your attitude when you talk to your coworkers and when you're managers. It's you taking care of yourself outside of work. Again, whether it's you like to get your hair done, your nails done, spas, gyms, restaurants, whatever the case may be, you deserve to be recognized for the industry you work in, and you need to be, instead of picking up another shift, focus on the people that love you the most.
Perfect.
And spend time with those people.
So we need all of our viewers to like, share, and subscribe. This is the Kreate Leverage Podcast, and I want to thank Brian for coming, for giving us, the information that he, has given us, and I wish you nothing but luck. You have my full support, our viewers and our listeners. So I need for you guys to make sure that you guys follow, and just support any way that you can, because this gentleman is on a mission. Everyone has someone that's in a medical field in their family. I want to also give a shout out to my sponsor, Moxie Ultra Lounge. Go over there, get you guys something to eat. Follow them on Instagram. Share some of their previous content. Also, Kreate Leverage Clothing. Always remember Kreate with a K. You can follow them on Instagram at kreateleverage.co. Our sponsors are the ones that keep this content going. So we need for you guys to go out and support the sponsors. I'm Kevin Lee, the host of the Kreate Leverage Podcast. Until next time, we out.